My world collapsed when I caught my husband David cheating in our own home. It was a feeling I didn't even wish on my worst enemy. He demanded a divorce, and at that moment, I wanted nothing more than to be as far away from him as possible. But after I signed the divorce papers with a smile, something happened that I didn't see coming. But before we start, make sure to subscribe if you haven't and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. I hadn't seen it coming, neither the divorce nor what came after. Nevertheless, I welcomed it with open arms. Though it seemed as if my life had fallen apart completely, something from my past suddenly began to unfold. However, when David found out, he wouldn't let things slide so easily. Even though the divorce was settled, he now understood what he had truly lost. Knowing that, he returned tenfold, trying to tighten his grip around me again. Luckily, my lawyer claimed that David could never truly reach me. David wanted to see me and my spirit destroyed, but I knew I couldn't let him win. I hadn't truly understood the situation I had gotten myself into, but luckily, my lawyer was helping me overcome all the issues coming my way. Regardless, it still made me question if the timing of that person coming back into my life was coincidental. How had David known about this new chapter in my life? And most importantly, would my lawyer be able to fix it? The day I found out my husband had been cheating wasn't due to something I was particularly proud of. His suspicious behavior forced me to become a woman that I hated being. I went through his emails and met him at his work. I even searched his phone. I hated invading his privacy like that, but he never left me a choice. It all started when he couldn't explain why he wasn't around as much. I decided to set a trap for him. When he would call and say he won't be home for dinner, I would simply say that I had plans with my friends anyway and wouldn't be home until late. Then, I would drive my car to a friend who lived close by and just wait for my husband to come home. I would catch him red-handed. Not 48 hours had passed when he rang me, telling me not to wait for him for dinner. I simply stated that I had told him before that I would be out with my friends and probably stay the night with them. At this, he merely said, "Oh, the whole night. Okay, honey, have fun," and hung up the phone, hook, line, and sinker. I drove off to meet with one of my friends who lived only a few blocks away. The one thing is that I had to walk back. After dinner had ended, I thanked my friend for letting me stay over for a little while and decided to walk back home. As I approached the house, I felt my heart fall. His car was in the driveway, and it wasn't alone. I immediately took a photo of my husband's car and the car that was behind it on our driveway. I softly opened the door, not wanting anyone to hear me yet. For the purpose of proof, I had to catch them red-handed. Going up those stairs was like torture. I took a deep breath, checked if I was recording, and opened the door. It had been a flurry of activity, a yelp, and now a duvet-covered David stood before me. I gathered my courage as I met his eyes. There was panic in them, but also resolve, so I just asked him the simple question, "How long?" Instead of answering, he grabbed my arm, guided me outside the room, and closed it behind him. He scratched the back of his head as he answered, "It's been going on for multiple months now, Eva. I'm sorry you had to find out this way. I want a divorce." Each word a dagger piercing through the remnants of my hope and heart. Though not entirely unexpected, the declaration left me devastated. After this, he left with that woman and called me a psychopath for not coming with my own car. The following day, both our families knew what had happened. Then I got a sudden phone call. I hesitantly picked up the phone. "Is it true?" the voice on the other line asked. I hadn't heard this voice in ages. "Yeah, David and I are getting a divorce," I said, holding back my sadness. It had been my fault this happened. Then, the voice on the other side of the call did something unexpected. She laughed, and a loud cackle reverberated through my phone speakers. "That's good to hear. I never liked the scumbag anyways. His cheating only confirmed my suspicions. But as this, I simply remained quiet. After not hearing me continue the conversation, my favorite cousin, Lillian, took a different approach. "Hey, Eva, remember I am one of the best lawyers, divorce lawyers, may I add, in my state. I'll make sure his cheating ass will be bled dry." Lillian quickly gathered a profile for David that would be upheld in court. She sure had sinister plans. Lillian stated that the recording that I had, the text of late-night meetings, but the lack thereof in his work emails and calendar would paint me to be the victim of this divorce case. His features matured, but the eyes, unmistakably his, stared back at me. The cafe's ambiance was warm, with soft melodies playing in the background, As Robert and I conversed, memories from our youth flooded back, the shared summers, secret glances, and innocent promises of forever. Returning home, my mind was a whirlwind. The day had been a roller coaster of emotions. The heartache from finalizing the divorce contrasted sharply with the excitement of Robert's return. Over a quiet dinner, the conversation shifted. Robert's eyes held intensity and his voice grew soft. "Eva, there's something I need to tell you, something important." He paused, weighing his words carefully. I waited with bated breath, curious and anxious. "Tomorrow," he said, leaving the statement hanging in the air. The evening had taken an unexpected turn. David stood before me, his eyes red-rimmed and desperate. "Eva," he began, his voice quivering. "I know I've done wrong, but I'm begging you, don't let Robert pull you into his world." "Remember our journey, Eva?" David's voice broke through my defenses. He began recounting our travels, the life we built together, our dreams and aspirations. Each word was an attempt to reconnect, a reminder of the love we once shared. My heart ached, torn between the sweet memories of the past and the bitter pain of the present. "Robert isn't who you think he is," David whispered, his gaze intense. "He's got secrets, Eva, dark ones." The insinuation in his voice was chilling. Doubt began to creep in, clouding my judgment. Was Robert's sudden appearance in my life truly a coincidence, or was there more to it? David's hints were unsettling, making me question everything. The night was long and sleep elusive. The whispers of David's warnings echoed in my ears. David's evident remorse played in stark contrast to Robert's enigmatic presence. Both had been central figures in different chapters of my life, and both now held the potential to shape my future. The question that tormented me was, whom could I trust? Whom did I truly want by my side? The door opened to reveal my cousins Jane and Martin, who I hadn't seen in years. Their expressions were a mix of excitement and solemnity. "Eva," Jane began, her voice quivering slightly, "we've come with unexpected news about a distant relative's will. It seems you've been named a beneficiary." My initial shock gave way to bewilderment as they detailed the inheritance. A vast estate, shares in a thriving business, and a sum of money that left me reeling. This sudden windfall had the potential to alter the trajectory of my life, adding a new layer of complexity to my already tumultuous emotions. David's response was immediate and intense. His earlier pleas took on a new fervor, making me wonder if the news of my inheritance had reignited his desire to reconcile. "Eva, let's start anew," he implored, his eyes searching mine for a hint of reciprocation. But with newfound wealth came newfound skepticism. Did he know about the inheritance before he approached me? Or was it just an unfortunate timing? At a firm-sponsored art exhibition, my path crossed with Alex, a sensitive art curator with a captivating aura. Our dialogues flowed like a serene river, and his perspective seemed attuned to my present phase of life. This budding connection felt real and untouched by any past shadows, offering a refreshing breath of air. The romance with Alex stood out. Unlike past liaisons, this bond was built on respect, transparency, and mutual aspirations. I felt a sense of balance, a reciprocity where both partners were equals. David had once been the pivotal axis of my universe. But now, whispers of his transformation reached me. Tales of his therapy and acts of community service painted a picture of a man earnestly seeking repentance. A letter adorned with Robert's distinct handwriting arrived on a misty morning. He detailed his intentions to leave the city, searching for peace in distant lands. His motives for returning, and now departing, remained an enigma. His presence had added a layer of mystery to my life, a chapter now concluding. An unexpected visit from Lillian carried an air of somber revelations. As we sipped tea, she unraveled a hidden tale. David, it appeared, had wronged someone dear to her in the past. Lillian's intervention in my story wasn't just for my sake, it was also a quest for her personal closure and justice. Nestled in the cozy confines of my library, I reflected upon the past events, inscribing them on paper. The emotional whirlwinds, the love, and the betrayals all contributed to my metamorphosis. Every challenge and every joyous occasion had molded me into a more resilient, insightful, and empowered individual. Gazing from my balcony on a cool morning, the garden sprawled before me, signaling new beginnings. With hard-earned wisdom and a renewed sense of love, I felt ready to embrace the future. The horizon held promises, and I was poised to explore all the adventures that life had yet to reveal.